Welcome to the Thursday, April 11th meeting of the City of Lowell License Commission. Was the meeting posted?
Yes.
Okay. First on the agenda,
Commissioner, first of all, approval for minutes of the meeting for the March 28th meeting.
Move approval.
second, all those in favor say aye. Aye, so moved. Next on the agenda,
Commissioner will now take up a matter to do with an application for public amusement license for St. Margaret's School. The Reverend Raymond P. Benoit is parish administrator. Carol Wemmett is here as the representative for the St. Margaret's School. This is for a fair that's annually held by the St. Margaret's School authorities in conjunction with the St. Margaret's School Family Festival, starting Wednesday, April 17th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., Thursday from April 18th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., Friday, April the 19th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday, April 20th, 2013 from 12 noon to 10 p.m. The event will be held on the school grounds at 486 Stevens Street. The event promoter is the East Coast Amusements Limited Liability Company, and Jack Keogh is their local representative from Carlisle, and Carol Wemmett is here representing the St. Margaret's School.
would you introduce yourself for the record?
Hi, I'm Carol Wemmett. I'm the administrative assistant at St. Margaret's School.
Okay. And the fair, how many years have you had the fair?
Well, I've been there 20 years, and we started it when I was a volunteer, so it's been over 20 years.
Okay. We've never had any issues, correct?
No.
No. Questions?
No.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Good luck, Carol.
Pray for good weather.
Yes.
Would Philip Maynard be here? Okay. Commission will now take up an application for a special event permit for amplification of sound. David McCloskey, the executive director, has filed an application. Mr. Philip Maynard is here on his behalf. The Lowell Transitional Living Center at 205-209 Middlesex Street. This is for a sound system for disc jockey for Steps to Home Walk to End Homelessness, which was scheduled for Sunday, June 9th, 2013, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the disc jockey will be, sound system will be in place at the parking lot at Canal and Jackson Streets.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Philip Maynard. I'm on the board of directors of the Lowell Transitional Living Center.
Okay, Phil, and have you had this walk before?
We had it last year.
Okay.
It's our second year.
A sound license is a common sense license, so you just can't have it blasting. But, you know, the hours are reasonable, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., so I hope you have great weather and have a good event. With that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Good luck. We skipped over Jamie Ahern. We skipped over Jamie Ahern, didn't we?
I'm sorry.
The second
We
one.
skipped over the library one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry about that. The commission will now take up the matter to do with a special one-day license application for malt beverage and wine only, or either one. James O'Hearn is present. He's an applicant on behalf of the Pollard Library Foundation for Thursday, May 2nd, 2013, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The event is the Pollard Library Foundation's 7th annual Meet the Author Night, to be held at the Memorial Hall at Pollard Memorial Library at 401 Merrimack Street.
Introduce yourself for the record.
James O'Hearn,
James, who's the author?
Ben Mesrick.
What has he written?
He wrote Bringing Down the House, the story of the MIT students that broke down Vegas, and also the Social Network movie, the story of Facebook.
Great. How long have you guys been, it's, 7 years.
7,
Have
yep.
you had the license in your name?
I've had it for 4 years.
Okay. So you know what goes along with it.
Yes.
Alrighty, great.
They have cheese with the wine?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
It's a wine and cheese event, are you gonna be serving cheese with the wine?
There will be some cheese there.
I move that we approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So move. Good luck.
Thank you.
See you, Jamie.
This is just a corporate officer change. Commission will now open the matter to do with an application filed by CEC Entertainment, Inc., doing business as Chuck E. Cheese, Restaurant at 199 Plain Street, Unit Number 5. Michael Karras is the manager of record, this being a beer and wine, malt beverage and wine-only restaurant licensee. The parent company, CEC, has approved a new corporate officer, secretary, Mr. David Deck, who's resident of Texas, and Mr. Karras is here on his behalf for the company.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Michael Karras, I'm the GM of Chuck E. Cheese on Plain Street.
All right, Michael, this, how long have you been the GM there? A long time, right?
3 years now?
3 years,
Yeah.
all right. This is just a corporate
Corporate
change
change,
of office, yeah.
day-to-day, hands-on business stuff, all stays the same.
Okay.
Guys from McKinney, Texas, it can't be all bad. I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So
Appreciate
moved.
it. Have a good one, guys.
Good
Thank you.
luck.
Is Angel Perez here? No, he's not here.
I'm sorry, Ryan.
Commission now open a hearing on the allegation of misconduct as charged by Kenneth E. LaValle, former superintendent of police, now retired, against the licensee known as the Middle Street Village, Inc., doing business as the Village Smokehouse, Alan F. Kaplan, manager of record, the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee at 9298 Middle Street, for illegal open bar in violation of Mass Regulation 204 CMR 2.00, regulations of the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission, 204-2.05, licensed premises, prohibition of certain practices, 204-4.01, definitions, and 204-402, required records, and last, 204-403, certain practices prohibited. This matter was originally scheduled for hearing for March 28th, and at the request of the manager, Alan Kaplan, it's been continued and was approved to be continued by the License Commission at the 28th meeting for April the 11th.
You introduce yourself for the record.
Alan Kaplan. Tim Kelleher.
Okay. Would you guys like the complaint read into the record?
I'm sorry, sir?
Would you like the complaint read into the record?
No, thank you.
Okay. Captain Webb, could you summarize the complaint on behalf of the superintendent or former superintendent?
Mr. Chairman, on December 31st, 2012, the police department received information regarding a planned New Year's Eve event at the Village Smokehouse on Middle Street. According to postings on the Facebook social media site, tickets were being sold for a $50 admission price, which was to include an open bar. At 7:05 p.m. on that date, Lieutenant Michael Kilmartin spoke with Timothy Kelleher, manager of the Village Smokehouse. Mr. Kelleher told the lieutenant that the event was not open to the public and was being hosted by the staff, and that 300 tickets had been sold in advance. Lieutenant Kelleher gave Mr. Kelleher a copy of the ABCC happy hour regulations and told him that Lieutenant Hodgson would be by later that evening. Lieutenant Hodgson stopped by at 11:17 p.m. on the 31st with Officer John Boutsellis. They entered the Village Smokehouse, spoke with Mr. Kaplan, who was the manager of record. While speaking with Mr. Kaplan, Lieutenant Hodgson learned that the function underway did not meet the criteria established by the ABCC to define private functions. Specifically, there was no identified host, access was not restricted to invited guests. Invited guests of private functions may not be charged directly or indirectly for drinks. The host of a private function who is not identified on this evening is the only person responsible for payment to the licensee. Mr. Kaplan told the lieutenant that the bar tab was to be paid by employees at the end of the evening, but Officer Boutsellis observed that no bar tabs were being kept and the registers were not being used to enter drink orders. Private functions also are not to be advertised, but this event was actively promoted on an internet site by employees. And lastly, a written guest list as required could not be provided. The ABC regulations concerning private functions and happy hour regulations were publicized by notice to all licensees on November 23rd, 2009. In addition, this notice is published online on the ABCC website under advisories and guidelines. The investigation conducted on December 31st by Lieutenant Hodgson and Lieutenant Kilmartin and Officer Butzelis clearly show that these regulations concerning the happy hour regulations and private functions were not being followed that evening. Lieutenant Kelleher, Lieutenant Kilmartin, and Officer Butzelis are here to testify if you'd like to hear from them.
Okay. You have anything to say, Mr.
Yes,
Kaplan?
yes, sir.
Sure.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for extending it for a couple of weeks. It was very important to my family, and it was much appreciated. Thank you. Also, I just want you to be aware, I've chosen not to bring an attorney here tonight to be non-confrontational with the commission. And we are guilty of these charges, but almost without prejudice. And the reason is the prior year, we did the exact same thing, like identical. We went through the Lowell police, they came in, they checked it out, they gave us the green light. Then I had Chief Inspector Mahoney from the ABC, this is 2 New Year's Eves ago. Chief Inspector Mahoney from the ABCC, he had left a message because he had heard there might be a situation, and I left him my cell phone, and he called me about 6 p.m. on New Year's Eve. I told him the situation. He said, as long as the staff pays the bar bill, looks like you're in fine shape, enjoy the night and be safe. The only thing that I do disagree with, and we use detail police 3 nights a week, and we absolutely love this city, and we love the police department. They've been great to us. But I do think there's been an honest mistake here with the officer that said things weren't being run in, because it's just not true. And I think it was an honest mistake. He said he saw a screensaver come up on the computers, and I just timed it before I came over here. It takes 5 minutes for the for the screen to go into screensaver, which, from a realistic standpoint, with 300 people, it doesn't make any sense to me. And like I said, I think it was an honest mistake on that. Other than that, all we did was twin the prior year, and we thought we were 100% in the right. Needless to say, we'll never do it again. And when the lieutenant came in at 11:15, he showed us some regulations we were honestly unaware of. And like I said, we twinned it from the prior year with the blessing of the Lowell Police and of the ABCC. And when that being said, I'm not saying we're innocent. We're kind of innocently guilty, I guess you would call it.
How long has the Village Smokehouse held a license in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts?
In the Brookline location or the Lowell?
In the Commonwealth. So in the state of Massachusetts, how long have you held a license?
26 years, sir.
26 years. And in 26 years, you weren't aware of the happy hour regulations?
It's just never come into play with us. And like I say, all we did was what's that?
Can I just say, we weren't aware of the addendum.
Can you just speak into the microphone?
Sorry. We were not aware of the addendum to the happy hour regulations. If you look at the regulations that are in the Lowell Commission and online, it doesn't tell you to go look at the addendum. So we followed the license regulations, and then this addendum showed up, quite honestly, this year online, I guess, after November, I don't know when. But prior to New Year's Eve, it showed up on the License Commissioner website. But prior to that, I've never seen that piece of paper before in my life.
I mean, it's dated 2009.
I understand that, but I don't know how we would find that. And I would also say that when you guys are redoing the license regulations, you should incorporate that, because what that's saying is not what the happy hour regulations say on your license commissions right now.
I'm sorry, I missed your name, sir?
Tim Kelleher.
Of Lowell?
No, Village Smokehouse. I'm one of the owners.
Lieutenant Hodgson, could you come up to the microphone? Could you introduce yourself for the record?
Lieutenant James Hodgson, Lowell Police Department.
Could you tell me what you saw that night, what you observed?
Well, prior to that night, I was directed by Deputy Superintendent Frito to look into this matter, and I was directed to Facebook postings that was brought to our attention from the Crime Analysis Unit. And upon doing so, I noticed that they were advertising in the social media that they were selling 300 tickets at $50 a piece. Various employees were posting that open bar, et cetera, and they come down and buy tickets. And then about 11:17 PM, I went that night. I spoke to one of the employees, Steve Linehan, who I know, and he brought me to Mr. Kaplan, introduced me to him. I never met Mr. Kaplan prior, and I gave him a copy of the regulations, and I asked him if they had a guest list. He said they did not. I asked who was hosting the party. He stated that the employee, their staff was having the party. I further informed that those were violations and that by charging a cover charge, it was a violation of the happy hour violations.
Okay. All right, thank you. So you said you've had a license for 26 years in the Commonwealth?
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. Well, as a business owner and the holder of a alcoholic beverage license, I mean, it's your duty to be up on the laws of the Commonwealth. And these rules went into place in May of 2004. So they've been in place for almost 9 years. And this shouldn't have been something that caught you by surprise. If it was New Year's Eve of 2004, December 31st, 2004, then I'd say, well, maybe you were unaware of the law. I still don't think that's an excuse, but, we give you some leeway. But, these laws have been around for a long time, and, your employees are agents of your establishment.
Absolutely.
And if you look at the Facebook posts that were attached to the complaint, they're trying to actively sell these tickets. They're not private messages to their friends. This is right out for everyone to see. The Lowell police got this because they just got onto Facebook page and they see that you're trying to, that your employees, I'm not you, but your employees who are agents are marketing this event. And, the rules and regulations of the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission and the CMRs promulgated by the Attorney General say you can't do that. So that's where, the issue that I have. I don't know how the other commissioners feel about this.
How many employees do you have at the smokehouse?
Approximately 25.
But 300 tickets for an employee event?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I thought that it was stated that some 300 tickets were available
Yes, sir.
for 25 employees?
As far as the employees selling them?
Yeah, it was an employee event.
Correct.
25 employees, 300 tickets?
Yes, sir. And like I had stated before, I absolutely don't want to be confrontational with you. We were basing this last New Year's Eve, just based on the fact that the Lowell Police and the ABC said we were totally within our rights to do what we had done 2 New Year's Eve ago, and all we did was allow the staff to duplicate it. And as far as the happy hour laws, I agree with you, Commissioner Occasion. Just my place in Brookline, we're not even open past 11:30 at night. It is like food, and we'll go home and go to bed.
I guess my concern is if you're speeding on the Pawtucket Boulevard and you drive by a Lowell police officer and they don't pull you over, and then the next time they do, you can't say, well, last time I drove by you and you didn't pull me over. The law is the law, and they want to enforce it at this point.
I'm not disputing that. Like I said, we had the blessing from the Lowell Police and the ABCC the prior year. The night went off without a hitch. It was successful, and all we did was duplicate it. And like I said, I don't want to be confrontational in any shape or form.
Right. So if I showed up on New Year's Eve at the Village Smokehouse and knocked on the door and wanted to come in, I wouldn't be allowed in?
As the commissioner, we would have broken the rules.
If I was the plumber.
No, you would not have been.
Okay. And did you have someone working the door, or how did it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We had a detailed police officer as well as our in-house security.
Have a detail, not nice.
A detail didn't show up that night. We use a detail every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then sometimes Sunday if it's a 3-day weekend, or whenever we feel that there should be one there.
So this party was meant to be a party for your employees, like your employees and their friends?
Not for the
their
employees,
friends.
hosted by the employees.
Hosted by the employees.
Yes, sir. And like I said, we are innocently guilty here. We understand now that all of this is true, what you're charging us with. It just, like I said, we just based it on the prior year and thought everything was going to be fine, just like it was the prior year. That aside, I don't dispute any of the charges. And I can assure you, it'll not going to happen again. And the Brookline restaurant is totally different.
Different, I understand
Okay.
that.
If I
Comments, concerns?
If I may.
Yes.
The city would just like to point out that regardless of the fact that the event was held the year prior, the fact remains that this remains an illegal event, that it was publicly advertised, the cover charge was placed, which is in violation of the CMR. And regardless of what happened last year, the fact remains that it's irrelevant to these proceedings, that this is the event that was clearly illegal and must be considered.
Yeah, and I think that they've acknowledged that they know that they were in the wrong
Absolutely.
in this event. Any questions, concerns? Let me ask you this. You guys, how long have you been opened in the city of Lowell?
It'll be 5 years in October, approximately 4.5 years.
Have you had any disciplinary, I've been here for those 5 years, but there's a lot of people that come in and out. Have you been disciplined at all by the License Commission?
We were several years ago. We failed a sting operation. It was probably about 3 years ago. Your commission put us on probation for 6 months, and we haven't had an incident since.
No incidents. But you had that, we won't get into that. But you've had no incident, you've had no
No,
hearings.
We haven't been in front of the board.
Right, we have not been in front of your board, and we've also completely passed at least 8 or 10 compliance checks between the ABCC and the Lowell Police. Timmy and I work in the 70, 80, 90 hours a week, and like I said, it's not only our livelihood to feed our children, it's our lives.
Yep.
And we understand having a license is a privilege, not a right.
Well, I haven't proposed anything yet.
Yeah,
So, I mean, this is a serious event, and yet the approach they're taking in coming to us, I think, shows the right approach. So I think that we should take some action, or suspend it to see if they show up again. So I'm open to Chrissy telling me how many days.
No, I mean, I agree. You're obligated to be aware of any, thing that
But,
the
wait.
ABCC.
listen, this is the problem that we're having, is that it's a good tactic that you've taken. You've taken the responsibility for it. You say it's not gonna happen again. It's just you're lucky that nothing happened that night, because then you'd be in a situation where, you had something that wasn't within the laws of the Commonwealth, and, something happened that shouldn't have. So you're lucky that nothing happened, that it went off, everyone was safe, no one got injured, no incidents occurred. So you're lucky. You've taken the step that you agree that if you do have a type of event like this in the future, you're going to comply with the regulations
Absolutely.
that are before you. So I think Commissioner Krieger is right in his assessment that I think we should find, or at least my opinion is that we should find you responsible for these violations. But based on the track record that you have had in the recent past of, good compliance checks, I know your business has evolved from more of a restaurant to more of a bar.
Yes,
And I
sir.
know you had to do that to compete and to stay open. I understand that. And it's better to have you guys down there and running a good operation than have them being closed.
Thank you.
But I know the Lowell Police takes this very seriously. And, I guess my recommendation would be to suspend the license for 3 days and hold it in abeyance for 1 year. So I'll make that, well, comments.
So moved.
All right, I'll make that in the form of a motion. I move that the license be suspended for 3 days and held in abeyance for 1 year.
I think that conveys the seriousness of our purpose here, and also encourages those who come before us to understand that they need to come clean and be open about their faults and move forward.
So is that a second?
That's a second, yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Just remember, this is what I think that the city and the license commission and the law department and everyone wants to know, that if you're the license holder, you have to be aware of the rules and regulations. You can't plead ignorance all the time. So you got your one bite at the apple today. You got the 3 days hanging over your head for the next year. So just make sure you run a clean ship. I don't want to see you guys in here.
We don't want to be
I
here
like
either.
you, but I don't want to see you here. And I think the police doesn't want to see you here, because that means you're doing a good job. So have a good night.
Thank you very much for your time.
We will see you on April 20th.
Well, before you go, the point was made about the rules not properly reflecting. So we've advertised we're going to review the rules in public, I think, 2 weeks hence, right? So that's the time for you to step up and say, the rules are not clear. And if the rules aren't clear, our job is to make them clear and understandable by the average person on the street, so there are no mistakes. So
Yes, sir.
feel free to come and provide your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Commission will now take up a matter to do with a special event permit for amplification of sound, filed by Mary Jo Griffin, the Director of the Public Affairs for Middlesex Community College. Sound system for live music, disc jockey, public address at the event known as the Campus Spring Fling, Friday, May 10th, 2013, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This will be held at the campus quad adjacent to the Middlesex Community College City Campus at 33 County Square.
Would you introduce yourself for the record?
Mary Jo Griffin, Director of Public Affairs at Middlesex Community College. I apologize for being late. We had an event at the college.
That's all right, Mary Jo.
Thank you for postponing.
How long have you been doing this event?
This is our third year.
Okay. It's just a common sense license. We don't want to hear it in Pawtucketville, and I'm sure you don't want to either. So if you guys have any questions.
Campus quad.
We use most of the parking lot and behind the building and behind Middlesex Community College, where it overlooks the river, the canal. That's city property. So we use some of that.
The bridge construction won't get in your way.
We're concerned about that, but the construction company has been we wanted to do trolley rides this year because a lot of our Bedford students come up for the day, and the trolley can't get by right now with the bridge construction, but the construction company has been very helpful in working with us, and they actually have offered to have an extra police officer on that day to help with traffic and things, so.
Great.
Good.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
Thank you, and I appreciate putting me on later in the docket.
Problem.
Thank you.
All set.
Angel Hernandez is here.
The matter to do with an application by Angel Perez, doing business as Angel Appliances, for license for secondhand articles for major household appliances at 250 Middlesex Street.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Good evening. My name is Hervera Reyes. His wife, he doesn't speak any English.
Okay.
Accompany him.
Have you guys ever been in the secondhand article business before?
Que si tú has tenido un negocio de segunda mano anteriormente.
No.
No.
Okay.
No, he sido ayudante.
He has helped someone. This is
He has helped someone.
Yes.
I'd like to ask a couple of, I'd spoken with Mr. Perez.
sure.
And Mr. Perez had a gentleman with him at the time.
Yeah.
I hadn't spoken with Mrs. Rodriguez?
Reyes.
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 Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. In any event, I instructed Mr. Perez to pay his respects to the Lowell Police Department, in which it was kind of a difficult situation because I may not have given him the right directions in going there. But in any event, short of it is he's dealing with major appliances. He apparently has a business in Lawrence.
Yes.
And the Lawrence business, or the Lowell business, would be kind of like the secondhand store for your Lawrence business,
Yes.
which is selling new product and taking in old product that you might sell in Lowell. Is that the idea? Or is it a repair business?
No, it's not a repair business. It's secondhand.
It's secondhand as well in
Household.
Lawrence.
Like washing machine, dryers, refrigerator, and stoves.
Where do you get those appliances?
¿De dónde tú consigues?
En Connecticut.
In Connecticut.
In Connecticut. Do you, let me ask you this, if I was buying a new washing machine for my house and I brought it over to you, my old one, would you buy the old one and try to resell it?
Dice que si él te lleva una máquina de lavar a tu negocio usada, si tú la comprarías para venderla de nuevo.
No.
No.
Well, you know, it's great that new businesses open up in the city. Have you talked to the Lowell Police Department at all?
Yes, we did.
You spoke, who did you speak to?
I have here paper. El día que fui a hablar con el policía. Este es el papel del policía.
No sé. ¿Qué sabes?
I know because I went with him
Okay.
and I don't remember who it was. It was
Nosotros hablamos con el
It was
policía.
an officer who saw me there because the person that was in charge was not in.
And what'd you talk about?
He mentioned about if someone were to go to the store and sell merchandise,
Yeah.
if you were to buy it, you would to get in trouble and stuff like that.
I understand that the police were not so much concerned about major appliances.
Right, it was the other stuff.
It's anything that might be, come his way in his
Right.
direction, that smaller items, like maybe a laptop or some such item like
Yeah.
that, would certainly be of interest to Lowell Police.
I think the safest thing to do, or the most prudent thing to do, and we've done this in the past, and we did this the last time, is that Captain Webb will give you the name of an officer that speaks Spanish, and they will go over the rules and regulations with you. I think they even have it in a Spanish version, right, Ryan? Is that? Or you have a Spanish-speaking officer, correct?
We have a couple of Spanish-speaking detectives who will help
Detectives.
out.
That will help you out and go over everything. And then we'll approve the license after you demonstrate to us that you've met with the Lowell Police Department, you've met with the Spanish-speaking officer, because the license is in his name, and we just have to make sure that he understands the rules and regulations, and without him being able to communicate with us, it's difficult. That's my position anyways.
Okay.
I agree. I've got a question, though. The used items come from Connecticut. Where does someone work on them to make sure that they're in good order, that they're functioning, that they work? Is that going to be done here or in Connecticut?
Okay, I'm gonna ask him. Dicen si la mercancía fue comprada en Connecticut, ¿dónde se aseguran que están arregladas? ¿Si las arreglan en Connecticut o las arreglan aquí?
No, el Loren enseñó la regla y en Connecticut también.
Okay, this is someone who repairs them in Lawrence and also in Connecticut.
Repairs them in Lawrence and Connecticut.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would just feel more comfortable. What I think you guys are doing, it sounds like it's actually a pretty good business. But with the way the license is that someone could bring in something to you, and we just don't want put pressure on you to hold it and turn it around. And I'd rather have you meet with the Lowell Police Department and go over the rules and regulations of the city of Lowell, and then come back at our next meeting. And as long as it's demonstrated that you've met with the city and with the officer, then we'll approve the license, and you guys, and the next meeting is April 25th, so it's 2 weeks.
que dice que va a abrir 25 en la próxima audiencia. Entonces, él quiere que tú hables con alguien que sepa español, porque ellos quieren asegurar que tú sepas
I think I
las
gave him
reglas
a
y las
copy of the
regulaciones.
Spanish
Pero tú vas a estar ahí en la oficina.
Sí, pero quiere que tú
translation
hables
for
con
the
alguien en
what
español
we have
para que
in
te
English.
expliquen las reglas y las regulaciones en
Wanted to
español,
double check on that.
ya que tú no hablas inglés. Y entonces él quiere que te estés 100% seguro de que tú entiendes.
Yo entiendo un poco.
Okay.
I'm not sure, if I want to make double check,
Yes.
sure that when I gave Mr. Perez the copy of the regulations, did I also give him a copy of it in the translation in Spanish?
Okay. Las regulaciones que él te dio en español o solamente en inglés?
Yeah, in Spanish and English.
Spanish and English.
Is that of help?
Sí te ayudó.
Yes.
I'm not saying that's the best, but.
Oh, yeah, all right. So Captain Webb gave you the name of who to contact, correct?
Yeah. Detective Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so just call them up, set up a meeting with them, come back here on April 25th, and we'll approve the license, okay?
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to continue.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
Okay, thank you. Have a good
Me la
evening.
negaron.
Sí, para abril 25 tiene que venir.
Have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
So that's going to be Thursday, April 25th at 6:30 PM here. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. There is a letter from the Superintendent of Police Office with respect to a licensee known as Puff Inc., doing business as the C Spot. Claude Charlotte is the manager of record, the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee at 171 Lakeview Avenue. The commission needs to set up a date for a hearing on this matter. It's a similar situation of which the License Commission had dealt with a year ago, or last summer, actually, and that is to say that Mr. Charlotte has a habit of bringing in product that he hasn't officially received through a distributor on the premises.
Allegedly. All right, so why don't we mark this up for May 25th? 23rd? May 23rd.
Is that okay if I?
Yeah.
Okay. And just for the record, at the meeting on March 28, 2013, License Commission granted a special one-day license for malt beverages and wine only to Christine Chuck Trainer of the Aramac Catering, an event that was scheduled at the UMass campus on North Campus. The UML Plastic Engineering reception was scheduled for April the 3rd. I received word when an employee of Aramac stopped by that day to indicate that the event itself had been canceled. And Ms. Trainer had forwarded an email to that effect, confirmed that. So I did not issue that license. So for the record, if the commission wished to cancel.
Make a motion to cancel the license.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
Those plastics engineers.
With regards to our next meeting, that's April 25th, we're going to have our regular meeting start at 6:30, and then at 7 o'clock, we're gonna have a hearing on the new regulations. It seems like May 9th is not a good date for the commission to meet. Is it May 9th or May?
May 9th.
May 9th that's when our next scheduled meeting after the 25th was?
It originally has been scheduled following April 25th, that we'd meet again on the May 9th.
May 9th. Well, why don't we just cancel that meeting? And if at some point there's something that's of urgency that needs to be done between April 25th and May 23rd, then we can convene at some point if we have
Yes.
to.
Okay, so as it stands right now, our next meeting will be, regular portion of the meeting will be at 6:30 on April the 25th.
Yep.
A public hearing at 7 PM.
Yes.
On the new regulations revised, and then following which, our next regular meeting would be May the 23rd.
23rd, yes.
If perchance something comes up with the License Commission wants to proceed on another matter,
We'll give the proper notice for the hearing and meet.
okay, so it's possible that anything at the moment could be scheduled for May 23rd.
Yes.
For a public hearing, like say an application for a liquor license or some such thing like that.
Absolutely. And I think, we did meet 5 separate times to go over the regulations, so I think we met our quota for the, for the month of March and April.
Yeah, your statement doesn't go too far, does it?
Not that we don't enjoy doing it, but.
Not that that's means anything.
Right. So, I guess that'll be the plan right now, but if there's something that's, someone needs a license, or there's something, then I know we'll be here if we have to be.
Yes.
All right?
What about I did say on the agenda, but we did get the communication from you from the city council. Councilor Noon wanted a progress report on the rules.
Well, I believe that's, the city solicitor's already addressed that. I don't know if you had a chance to see something by way of email late this afternoon. It came out of the Office of the Law Department, in which the solicitor, O'Connor, had responded to Councilor Noon's motion from last meeting. I believe it was a week ago. Not this most recent one on this past Tuesday, but the previous Tuesday, in which motion, and the solicitor has notified the council and forwarded to them copies of the revised draft of those regulations, and indicated in her communication that the License Commission had met on 5 separate occasions, starting with the first meeting being on January 31st to discuss regulations, and followed with that first meeting with 4 additional meetings until, so it was Councilor Noon's answer to that.
Yeah, you're right, I've not had a chance. I was stuck over in DPD since Ms. King is out temporarily. So, that's fine then.
Yeah. All right, so with that, we'll make a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
I was hoping